Well, let's invite the viewer in here from the top because as we rolled the camera here this morning, Alex and I took off like a rocket, much like our first meeting some time ago. And I just want to set up today and our guest. I'm Jim Torr, by the way, host of the Connector podcast, and this is Alex Riehle, and he is, as we say, an enthusiast for higher ed enthusiast. And we'll talk more about that title as we get to know Alex. Alex, thanks for being here.
It's great to be here. Great to be here in the heart of the third ward of Milwaukee.
Yeah. Thanks for making the drive down from Port Washington. Yeah. Sometimes, and if the viewers have seen a couple of our episodes, we might start with a music moment. And I know that you have a story that'll play right into that. So, Alex, as I've learned more and more about you, and we'll get into the higher ed and heart of your current story, but when you were starting off in your post-high school careers, tell us about your job as a television production assistant, a PA, that had some brushes with, and please do name drop, some brushes with some music personalities.
Well, so when I entered into my college experience, I was always looking to get involved in every on-campus production. You know, if somebody had a beer and a cup of chili, okay, I'll be a grip. I'll be an extra in your student film, and sometimes those productions ended up into bigger productions. Either we were making a music video, or there would be some regional commercial. But at our local university, they were always promoting for kind of bigger opportunities for the students who were willing to take advantage of it. And so when the production company that was hiring for American Idol came by, I seized that opportunity. And so season 10 of American Idol.
Alex, was that an audition? How did you have to get your name considered there?
Right away it was I'm willing to do this for any amount of money. I don't even know how much I got paid to this day, because I was like, whatever you need, okay, I will drive the cars, I will park the cars, I will run and grab the coffee, I will be there at the end of the day, I'll be there at first thing in the morning. And so that type of attitude was like, okay, when can you start? How about right now? And so just jumping on the train and joining the pack of production gypsies, as and so it started off where just basic sound, lighting, stage, getting ready for auditions, but then it was all of a sudden you get the mic and they're like, oh, Steven Tyler, he needs a t-shirt from Urban Outfitters. Who can get that? And I'm like, Steven Tyler? Yeah, what size? I'm already there. I'll go. Whatever you need. If Jennifer Lopez needs a Caesar salad, okay, I'll get 3 Caesar salads. And by showing up and being consistent, being willing to do anything, soon you get noticed and you get opportunities where maybe you can handle holding a clipboard, and maybe that clipboard is also shadowing Ryan Seacrest and making sure that he's in the right place at the right time, making sure that our contestants are mic'd and ready to go when he's about to intersect with a story. Things on a reality TV show like American Idol, things can change in a heartbeat. You have to be always alive, alert, and have your head on a swivel. And if in 3 seconds you need the camera to move and make sure that they're catching this moment between a mother and a daughter as they're about to have a life-changing audition, you need to make sure that you are out of the way and making sure that the camera's in the right spot. And so the experiences that I learned from being Ryan Seacrest's PA was, is excellence behind the camera is excellence in front of the camera. And that man was always on. Always, I mean, the way that he treated people on camera was the way they treated people off camera. It was kind of like a unspoken agreement that we're going to treat everybody in the building like a celebrity, and we're going to treat the celebrities like everybody. Wow. And that kind of lesson went into every job that I went into after.
Oh, that is so neat. Wow. Let that soak in a little bit. Yeah, just how we treat those around us. How great. Okay, well, from that experience, here you were a PA, getting some life experience as a gypsy. What came next?
Well, I always had a kind of a bug for like, maybe it's television, maybe it's entertainment, maybe it's hospitality. I really like the idea of storytelling, and I like the idea of being a part of these teams. When I was at camp, it's all about teamwork, and when you are working on a production, it's all about being a part of a team. We all have our roles, but we're also willing to do any role. Job titles at a summer camp or on a movie set are really it's really who has the ability to show up and do good work and be consistent, and so I liked being a part of those atmospheres, and I also really found that working at a college campus, and I thought that's really where I felt that I could help bring some of those stories to life. I thought my unique vantage point would really be able to bring something. So, I went all in. Applying to graduate school programs to study and higher education, administration, get a foundation for the history, the context, what goes on in the boardrooms, what goes on in organizational development, strategic planning, budgeting, because the outcomes of that are what we see as in the student experience and in the research and in the teaching, but it's all about that excellence behind the curtain. And so studying that for 2 years gave me the foundation. And so after I completed a master's degree, I was like, I'll do, just how do I get my foot in the door? They're not just handing out college marketing jobs everywhere, and so I'll do anything. So by day, working in the financial aid office, answering all of the questions that parents and students had, to at night working at the call center and working for the admissions call center, and it was a real gift because for that time period. It was maybe not exactly what I thought I would be doing after having a master's degree, but it was real world market research on what were the pain points of the college journey. A really important phase that everybody goes through before being able to be in those classrooms where they have the transformative experiences all start with getting great customer service, being able to have confidence in a process that is new for everybody who walks through those doors. And so being able to apply those lessons into kind of like bigger creative stories later on to give people that confidence is, it was a real gift at the time to get that foundation for my career.
Yeah, wow. And I just have to remark that in everything that I've ever learned about you so far, and even right now, you take curiosity and apply it nearly instantly, but in that order. You're first curious and then start processing what more can I learn and how can this help somebody else. Just remarkable, Alex. Well, okay. So now you've brought us through to your degree. Where did you first find employment in this higher education space, and what was it like? How'd you get that next job?
I mean, I had for the resume, I was a communication manager, and then I was a project manager for alumni relations office, helping plan recognition events, helping plan chapter meetings, helping plan 5K races, award ceremonies, which is also a really important element to marketing is audience engagement and recognition, tools that I also took with me as I went through my career. And then I landed a spot in the admissions office, really in the front lines of marketing, going in the front lines of sales. And I did that for about 5 years.
Where at, Alex?
I was at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and I was a real road warrior. They sent me pretty much anywhere that people hadn't heard of Milwaukee. We need you to do the introductions. And so, it was, early mornings in high school guidance offices to late nights in auditoriums or gyms, any stage that they were going to allow me to speak. And, as somebody who knows a lot of entertainers, I actually kind of felt really cool about, wow, the audiences that I'm getting to talk about financial aid are sometimes bigger than some of the audiences that an early going, stand-up comedian or musician might see on a Tuesday night, when you have, 500, 600 parents all ready to hear about how to fill out the application for admission. So I took pride in being able to deliver really good presentations, really good stories, and always taking the time to connect with these individuals. Something that I learned really quickly in my career is the influences around the student during this admissions process. We spend a lot of time and energy in higher ed marketing to get in front of the 15, 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. But there's a real missing opportunity to make sure that those messages are also reaching the influencers, the mentors, the parents, the teachers, and the counselors. And that was a real light bulb moment for me that really helped me go from being able to just hit admissions goals to being able to knock them out of the park. And was I'm not trying to get in front of one individual. Every single person I work with, I'm going to be student-centered, and I'm going to make sure that I'm giving them an individual plan towards college and really understand how I can maximize their potential. And I'm interested in their stories. But if I can also get in front of large organizations and make sure that they're aware of what our university has to offer, that's where you go from recruiting one student to recruiting 70 students. And from there, it taught me how to scale. It taught me which is what also was an important marketing lesson. And so I transitioned from the admissions office to college relations office, representing not just marketing recruitment opportunities, but also marketing the activities that faculty and researchers were doing on the college campus, and how that story fits into a total brand story.
Yeah, you are here on the Connector podcast, and you are quite the connector. First off, seeing all those pieces of the organization and that opportunity, but then bringing people together, just really amazing. For the training of others, did you help to multiply your approach, bring up others to do and handle some of the systems that you did in those college presentations, in that admissions and enrollment seat? Have you had a hand in developing others to use some of your methods and be curious and bring the story to the audience?
Well, I think mentorship is really important. I've always been really kind of welcome to seeking out mentors in all different arenas that I was at, whether it's on a television set, or it's on a camp, or on a college campus. Having people with different experiences, different ways that they have gone through their career, has really taught me how to teach others. That experience of having mentors really helps me see my gaps and then understand where maybe my colleagues also have gaps, or even people who aren't my colleagues, but they're subject matter experts at the university, and teaching them how to talk about and promote their own products. An analogy that sometimes I use is that, you're a bird teaching fish about water. A bird sees water from one vantage point. They see how water is useful all over on the land, but fish are the subject matter experts. They're living, they're breathing, they are in it every day, but they don't always know how to package and sell. And so I take that approach of really valuing the subject matter expert, taking the time to listen and understand their experience, and then also helping open the door to how that could be beneficial, or how to help those subject matter experts talk to people who aren't familiar with their field and understand why it's important. It's a balance of art and science.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alex, before we maybe go to the next stop on the resume, take a quick inventory. Any key moments from that era of your role in the university that stick out to you? Any just memorable moment to share?
Well, I think even though it wasn't necessarily my assignment, I was always really curious about market research. I was, not just from a student behavior, but also really getting into the data. And that was something that my mentors and my supervisors really noticed that I had a knack for. And it wasn't something that I was heading into my career as like, oh, I'm this data scientist. But it was something that after I was in it, I could really see how useful it was to be data driven in your career, and to really have more than just the creativity or kind of like a knack for this, but also to have the numbers to help back up your decisions. And when I honed that skill, that's really where my career took off.
Isn't that something that anchored in that truth, that data, that you found this propulsion? So what happened next? Like when you harnessed that, what did you do with it?
So after working at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee for 8 years, I set off to do education marketing at the K through 12 level, which was a really impactful moment in my career, because I went from an organization with a lot of depth of team behind you, as far as recruiters, marketers, administrators, to when you're in the K through 12 level, you're wearing all of the hats, and you're learning how to really juggle a lot of different projects and harness your time management, but also be strategic and prioritize so that you can make the largest impact possible. I from that experience, I really learned that creativity is good for a marketer, but what's even more important is collaboration, communication, and um, and really being able to get buy-in internally. Because if you don't have those three things taken care of, the creativity just won't have as much impact. It's kind of like a diamond. A 4-carat diamond is great, but if it doesn't have cut, color, or clarity, what is 4 carats? So what is the creativity if you don't have all of those other elements secure?
Yeah, and you touch on a really important point, and that is the internal alignment. So if we don't know where we're going and we're not all bought in together, how can we use the best creative in the world but not deliver it to the audience with the amount of backing from those at the school?
So I was in a K-12 environment for 4 years, and every year, being able to add to my toolbox and really trying to make sure that I was ready to do more leadership opportunities. And so I got that opportunity at Concordia University of Wisconsin, a larger regional university, about 8,000 students. We're reaching audiences all over the world, and welcoming in some of our largest classes of students in the graduate, online, and international student spaces. And I've been really excited to work on some of those projects there. And so now I serve as the role of Director of Enrollment Marketing for the university, and helping cultivate a new team and new ways to think about prioritization within our academic promotion.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. That brings us up to date. What are you noticing out there in the sort of competitive landscape? What are you seeing that colleges are looking for a piece of the same audience? What are you noticing?
Well, I'm really hopeful about how communication has really brought parents into the conversation about colleges. I think the types of marketing that is really for a dual audience has been really impactful, especially for that traditional age high school to college transition. And I really appreciate those type of communications but also there's a real opportunity to also speak to students who have started a college degree. Maybe they've gotten some credits but haven't finished that degree. I'm really encouraged by the activity that I see at our university to try to tackle a labor shortage around our region, helping provide more opportunities and more avenues for people to become teachers, nurses, healthcare practitioners, and also business leaders in our community. But if a college degree is holding them back, what can we do as marketers to eliminate some of those problems and make the barrier to entry less, so that way people can accomplish their goals, achieve their dreams, and serve their purpose.
Yeah. NCI Design's history of and goes back to 1994 with higher ed and career school marketing is markedly the different audiences of the high school student and the returning student, and very different messaging and value props to share with them. And so I think it's you find yourself in the same place, just almost 30 about 30 years later. Things have changed though. And what would you say, even in your career, is one of the biggest shifts?
I think one of the shifts that we've even seen recently is just the way that we talk about our segmentation. And I'm guilty of this myself, is talking about the traditional versus the non-traditional student. And working at the university over the last year to really change the way that we talk about student segmentation. Traditional may not be that traditional anymore. Only about 60% of college students are coming directly from high school, and that number is shrinking, and more, it's the students over the age of 26 who are actually the ones in the college setting. And so we have done a great deal meeting with the academic councils, the executive councils, and working with upper leadership to really eliminate the terminology of non-traditional and really talk about them in terms of either what program they're in or the format in which they're in, whether it's on campus or off campus or online or at a satellite center, or are they a residential student? But instead of, oh, well, these are military returning students, these are non-traditional students, these are international students. Well, those segmentations are just, kind of antiquated.
Yeah. Well, that's so great, and just attends to the individual in your approach, kind of a beautiful way to not lump them into non-traditional. Alex, I remember a thing, and I would love for you to share. You have a passion for looking and observing and noticing, being curious about college advertising, and sometimes billboards or whatever. But tell us about the project. I'm hinting at here.
Well, I think as marketers, you're probably the same way. You cannot turn off your marketing brain. You are, every time, you're looking through a magazine and you just see like an ad that just stops you and trying, like, wow, that is an awesome ad. Or that one missed the mark. That one could have been a little, that could have landed the plane better. But I'm really excited about the work that's going on in higher education, in marketing, all around the world, and the stories that are coming out of higher ed that go beyond just this argument of return on investment or vocational connection, but really go back into reminding people the power of education. And that's why I'm excited to launch a podcast that celebrates higher education marketing with a platform I call Mad for College Ads, where we talk to the practitioners, the experts from across the nation, and have them share some of their best success stories, places where maybe they missed the mark and wish they could have done better. Talk about some of those war room stories and talk about the lessons that they've learned in the field. And so through Mad for College Ads, it's really going to be a celebration of that humanity that colleges provide, and an authenticity that college marketing can give when it's done well.
Yeah. We need it, and I can think of the binders that were shared with me throughout the years. We've talked. I had the partnership with Vince Norton and Gene Norris, Norton Norris company, and opened me up to so many opportunities at the career school level, other higher ed opportunities around the country. And first thing we do is audit what materials they were sending out, but let's look at the competitive landscape. You opening that up is going to be a treasure chest of things, and through your eyes, I think Mad for College Ads is going to be fantastic. Do we expect that sometime soon?
Oh, I think we're expecting that for the upcoming season.
Okay.
Going back to going back to my education background. Anew always starts in September, so it seems like a really fitting time to launch something new at the beginning of a school year. We're excited about the campaigns that we've been working on all last year for the upcoming recruitment cycle, the upcoming engagement goals, the upcoming advancement goals. And so September is going to be, I think, a really great time to launch that.
Yeah, fantastic. I think you've referenced, forgive me from steering us down a wrong path, but quite a collection of visuals and brand guides and things like that, including many billboards and ads. Can you just tell us a little bit about your curated collection?
Well, over the years, I've just been kind of maybe a hoarder of all the great collateral that I've collected, through the 80s, the 90s, and how we've evolved and how we haven't also changed that much from our messaging. And it's great to learn back from that historical perspective, but then also I'm always now seeing more of the digital ads and always saving files and reaching out to the people who are behind those projects and really making sure that they feel like seen and heard and recognized in that process. So I have a common practice of DMing somebody on LinkedIn and going, wow, that ad, I just caught it this morning, and yes, I love the message, and so that's what really gets me excited about the work that we are doing collectively as a community of higher ed marketers.
Yeah, I really applaud the idea that you referenced earlier data, and that feels a little colder or whatever, and it's very valuable. But you take that curiosity and you go and make the connection. You hit up those people and build those relationships. So I'm really excited for you in certainly this next coming cycle, but for you to launch this creative outlet for yourself. It's going to benefit others.
And the great thing about podcasting is, you get out of the corners of people just like you who, I thought like, oh, I'm kind of unique. I've always been obsessed with college ads and the college experiences and the traditions and culture since being a young kid. But there are people out there in all corners of the world, and I'm excited to talk to those people and engage with those people and hear what their ideas are and the types of messaging and stories that they're excited about too.
So good.
It's kind of interesting. We have this this morning we started this conversation talking a lot about dads. Something that was really important for the foundation of my career is this intersection between growing up on a summer camp and my dad's job there for the last 42 years, really helping welcome in hundreds of campers from around the world and recruiting all of these college students. And so literally born and raised on a summer camp in northern Wisconsin, surrounded me by kind of a whole new set of older siblings in a way, mentors for me, people who are either just about to start college or right in the middle of their college experience, all throughout my early childhood. Imagine having a new set of mentors to talk about what their college experience was like, why they chose their college experience, what touring colleges have been like, what they're studying and what they hope and aspire for that to lead to. And as an 8, 9, 10-year-old, that's usually not what people are concerned about, but it was something that was really fascinating to me and something that I didn't realize it at the time, but it was my introduction to college branding even before I knew what a marketing book was. To me, it was it was getting the annual magazine of the college rankings, combing through those, seeing what changed from the year before, memorizing the numbers, memorizing, the different enrollment and their specializations, and then having this entire field of camp counselors every year to talk about, those unique points of pride, the traditions, the tribalism that college in America is known for, and so that experience was it was really impactful for me. And at the same time, here I have this picture of my dad in the old camp station wagon.
Oh my goodness!
So
let's show this to the camera.
So
just wonderful.
He's on his.
Thank you for bringing that.
He's been up there for over 4 decades, and still up there today. Probably right as we speak, he's preparing the campfire for some s'mores or skits that are going to be going on this evening, and so for us, that's a big part of our family tradition, and so. Now as a dad, I look forward to bringing those same type of experiences for my girls, and then also having him really open up his career to me. He was an English instructor at a college university, so I had this college campus and this summer camp life, and so either it was running around the horse pastures or the archery ranges or the tennis courts, or was running around lecture halls and art galleries, sneaking into the back of a community event or ACT study, and so that also gave me early exposure to just the depth in which colleges offer, more than just academics, but also offering the community a really important catalyst for culture in our different regions of Wisconsin. That Wisconsin idea to bring lifelong learning opportunities to the masses, and so being able to experience that firsthand, whether it was like music concerts or poetry festivals or global cultural ethnic festivals, that little university served an important purpose for the neighboring communities, not just for critical vocational and skill development, but also for promoting the humanities, things that make us as people connect and ponder about and wonder about and inspire critical thinking, inspire us to try new things, try new approaches, and I, as part of a marketer, something I really strive to is to help tell great stories that remind people the power of this type of education, the power that education has to opening minds, helping us be able to work together better as people, being able to work together across interdisciplinaries to solve unreal problems, really real problems, with unbelievable solutions. And I think that's what really has drawn me to a career in education marketing.
Yeah. Alex, thank you. There's so much you put down there and more to dig into. I'm taken by the realization that the camp paradigm, the things that are offered there, the things to try, to maybe win a badge at, to move on from a physical skill to an artistic skill, or a walk in the woods or something like that. All these things, you've described the higher ed experience for the people choosing that path. and in your origin story, and there's a couple different things there. Not only your father's influence, but tell us about a little bit more about the recruiting that you grew up in for the camp.
Well, I think, going into higher ed felt really natural to me, whether it was going to be in admissions, helping people learn about a community, learn about a summer camp, learn, about all the activities. I mean, that was a real natural experience for me because that is something that I've grown up, that type of hospitality I've grown up doing my entire life. I loved, piling into the station wagon, to go see new college campuses and really learning about what the differences of these college campuses and the way that they communicate their unique value proposition to the public. And whether it's an impact that they have on society or a special type of experience or tradition that they offer, or is it just their way that they approach innovation and research. And so I was always really curious about how that came out and displayed into the graduates and the types of students that were drawn to these type of experiences, and to firsthand be able to ask our college counselors about that really helped me see that what makes the American college system so beautiful is how unique they are. And as a marketer, I really like to preserve that uniqueness and authenticity and really stem away from trying to be like everybody else. Trying to, just put the word excellent in front of the words, education or experience, but really go into the depths of what makes, a university with the same size school, maybe a similar tuition, similar colors and similar motto, but really what give credence to what is different about those universities, because that is where you're going to find your recruitment power, find people who are looking to be connected to like-minded individuals or individuals who are ready for the similar type of transformational experience.
Yeah. Well, that's really neat. Just to back up a second, when we talk about piling in the family station wagon, who was in there with you, and what were the stops you were making to invite folks to camp?
Well, my
was it for the counselor or for the camper?
Well, actually, it was for the counselors. Yeah. So we're trying to recruit counselors, coming from a wide range of activities, wide range of skill sets, and we're looking for people who are open-minded to either trying something new. Okay, you've never taught archery before or led a canoe trip before. Would you be willing to learn how to do that in the next 2 weeks and then teach that for the next 6 weeks like an expert? Yeah. So we're looking for college students made for the perfect type of person for that, because they're active in their learning journey.
Did you find some recruits that came back year after year after year?
This is a summer camp that's been around, a tradition in the Northwoods for since the 40s, and it was really awesome to see campers become counselors become parents of new campers. And so not only did we have many counselors who had never had a camp experience as a kid just love the opportunity to be a part of this community and love the traditions and then stay for the next decade or sometimes two. Sometimes they end up like my dad and stay for 40 years and pitch a cabin and never leave.
Yeah.
So you're the bona fide connector. You're the Connector podcast, what I really appreciate about the past episodes is how everybody's coming from different industries and different perspectives, marketing for big organizations or marketing for, small business that they are building from the ground up. And so setting this up, I wanted to nominate the next person for your interview.
I'm all ears.
So local musician Trapper Shep is launching his new album this September, Osborne, and it is a fascinating, powerful story about his own musical journey and his own life journey. And I thought that this would be a really great opportunity for you to, connect to somebody from the music industry and help this chain of connections across industries keep culminating.
Well, it sounds like you can set me up with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm game.
Absolutely.
Let's make it happen.
All right, let's do it.
Well, Alex, this has been great, and from your origin story to where you're at now, I just feel so much of that energy and wide-eyed enthusiasm. I think the viewer is going to be really basically inspired by you. So thank you so much for just spending a little time with me again today, and look forward to developing our friendship and have a great school year.
Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you for this opportunity to be part of the Connector and be part of your network.